Now, this is the account of how the second and third regions were established, and how Ningishzida was exiled and Unigki Arata threatened. When Marduk, after a long absence to the land of the two Narrows, returned, Ningishzida as its master there he found. Its lofty lord, Ningishzida was. With the aid of offspring of Anunnaki, who earthlings espoused, did Ningishzida the lands oversee. What Marduk had once planned and instructed by Ningishzida was overturned. What is it that happened? Marduk of Ningishzida to know demanded. Of the destruction of hidden things, Marduk Ningishzida accused. Of making Haran to a desert place depart, a place that has no water, a boundless place where sexual pleasures are not enjoyed. The two brothers an uproar made. Upon quarreling, bitterly they embarked. Pay heed, I am here in my proper place, Marduk to Ningishzida said. You have been my place taker. From now on, only a deputy of mine you can be. But if to rebellion you are inclined, to another land go away you must. For 350 earth years did the brothers in the land of the two Narrows quarrel. For 350 years was the land in chaos. Between the brothers it was split. Then Enki, their father, to Ningishzida said, for the sake of peace, to other lands depart. To go to a land beyond the oceans Ningishzida chose. With a band of followers, thereto he went. 650 earth years was at that time the count. But in the new domain where Ningishzida, the winged serpent, was called, a new count of its own began. In the land of the two Narrows, the second region under Marduk's lordship was established. In the annals of the first region, Magan, land of the cascading river, it was called. But by the second region's people, when languages were confounded, Ptah, the dark brown land, it was henceforth called. Natiru, guardian watchers, the Anunnaki were there in the new language called. Marduk as Ra, the bright one, was worshipped. Enki as Ptah, the developer, was venerated. Ningishzida as Tehuti, the divine measurer, was recalled. To erase his memory, Ra on the stone lion, his image with that of his son Asar replaced. To count by tens, not by 60, Ra the people made. The year he also by tens divided. The watching of the moon by the watching of the sun he replaced. Whereas, under the lordship of Tehuti, the olden city of the north and city of the south were re-established. Marduk, Ra, the two lands of the north and of the south into one crown city united. A king, an offspring of Natiru, an earthling, he there appointed. Mina was his name. Where the two lands meet and the great river divides, a scepter city, Ra, established. Splendor to surpass Kishi in the first region he gave it. Mina Nefer, Mina's beauty it was called. To honor his elders, Ra a holy city built. To honor Nibiru's king, Anu he named it. Therein, on a platform, a temple abode for his father Enki Ptah he erected. Its head, within a high tower, like a sharp rocket skyward rose. In its shrine, Ra, the upper part of his celestial barge, deposited. The Ben it was called. It was the one in which from the planet of countless years he had traveled. On the day of the new year, the king as high priest the ceremonies performed. On that day only alone the innermost star room he entered. Before the Ben offerings he put. To benefit the second region, Ptah to Ra all manner of me's gave. What do I know that you do not know? The father his son asked. Then all manner of knowledge, except that of the dead reviving, to Ra he gave. as a great one of the 12 celestials, Ptah to Ra, the constellation sign of the ram allotted. The water flow of Hapi, the land's great river, Ptah for Ra and his people regulated. Abundance in the fertile soils quickly came. Man and cattle proliferated. By the successes of the second region, the leaders were encouraged. The third region to establish they proceeded. To make it a domain of Inanna, as she was promised, they decreed. As befits the mistress of a region, a celestial constellation to her was assigned. Beforehand, with her brother Utu, the station of the twins she shared. Henceforth, as a gift from Ninursag, her constellation of the maiden to Inanna was allotted. In the 860th year, according to the earth year count, was Inanna so honored. Far away in the eastern lands, beyond 7 mountain ranges, was the third region. Zamush, land of 60 precious stones, was its highland realm called. Arata, the wooded realm, was in the valley of a meandering great river located. In the great plain did the people cultivate crops of grains and horned cattle herd. There too, 2 cities with mud bricks they built, with granaries they were filled. As by Enlil's decree required, the Lord Enki, Lord of Wisdom, for the third region a changed tongue devised, a new kind of writing signs he for it fashioned. A tongue of man heretofore unknown, for Arata Enki in his wisdom created. But the Mies of civilized kingdoms for the third region Enki did not give. Let Inanna what for Unig-Ki had obtained, with the new region share, so did Enki declare. In Arata, Inanna, a shepherd chief appointed, akin to her beloved Demuzi he was. In her skyship from Unig-Ki to Arata, Inanna journeyed. Over mountains and valleys she flew. The precious stones of Zamush she cherished. Pure lapis lazuli with her to Unig-Ki she carried. At that time the king in Unig-Ki was in Merkar, the second one to reign therein he was. It was he who the boundaries of Unig-Ki expanded. By its glories was Inanna exalted. It was he who the wealth of Arata coveted. To be over Arata supreme he schemed. To Arata in Merkar an emissary dispatched, as a tribute Arata's riches to demand. Over 7 mountain ranges, through parched lands, and then soaked by rains, the emissary to Arata went. To the king of Arata the demand words of in Merkar, word for word he repeated. His language the king of Arata to understand was unable. Like the bray of a donkey its sound was. A wooden scepter inscribed with a message the king of Arata to the emissary gave. To share Unig-Ki's Mies with Arata the king's message requested. As a royal gift to Unig-Ki, grains on donkeys were loaded. With the emissary to Unig-Ki they went. When in Merkar the inscribed scepter received its message in Unig-Ki, no one understood. He brought it forth from light to shade. He brought it forth from shade to light. What kind of wood is this? He asked. Then to plant it in the garden he ordered. After 5 years, after 10 years had passed, from the scepter a tree grew, a tree of shade it was. What shall I do? In Merkar in frustration his grandfather Utu asked. With heavenly Nisaba, the mistress of scribes and writing, Utu interceded. On a clay tablet his message to inscribe, Nisaba in Merkar taught. In the tongue of Arata it was. By the hand of his son Banda was the message delivered. Submission or war, it said. By Inanna, Arata was not abandoned. To Unig-Ki, Arata will not submit, the king of Arata said. If warfare Unig-Ki desires, let one warrior in combat meet Better yet, let us peacefully treasures exchange. Let Unig-Ki its mies for Arata's riches give. On the way back, carrying the peace message, Banda fell sick. His spirit left him. His comrades raised his neck. Without the breath of life it was. On Mount Hurum, on the way from Arata, to his death was Banda abandoned. The riches of Arata Unig-Ki did not receive. The mies of Unig-Ki Arata did not obtain. In the third region, civilized mankind did not fully blossom.